Needed to add this to the beginning. Please stay for the whole video. The video is 20 minutes long, very long, but stay for the whole thing. Thank y'all for watching. All right, guys, let's talk Deontay Wilder. Before we do that, give a thumbs up, hit the sub, hit the bell. You know what to do. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Like always, I'm driving early in the morning. And if I pause, it's because people don't know how to drive on the road. With that being said, let's get into the video again. Now, Deontay Wilder. It is rumored that he's going to fight Charles Martin. Before we get into this topic, I want to say this as a disclaimer. I have a bet on this fight, $50 against Mark. That's Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News. That's right, we have a $50 bet, and I am not on the good side of the bet. I am on the Charles Martin side of the bet. So let me throw this out there. And I know everybody's going to be like, yo, you stupid, you're dumb. You just lost your money. You gave it away. And that might be true. But just hear me out real fast. So 99.9% of the people in the world, including my brain, is going to tell you that Deontay Wilder is going to beat him. Because Charles Martin, while he does have a lot of power, he's slow. Whereas Deontay Wilder, with his power, attacks very quickly. And you have to be able to close the gap on him without him closing the gap on you. What do I mean by that? You've got to get to Deontay Wilder first. You've got to make the move to get in on him to be able to stay close, mid-range, or be able to somewhat push him backwards if you can. Now, Deontay Wilder, he likes that distance. If he's faster than you, then he can do his little hop skip and catch you with his full body speed, like he's running a sprint, and all of his torque with his wild punch. And that's normally how he knocks you out, because he could come across that ring like Usain Bolt off the blocks. Dude's very quick. So that's the biggest issue for Charles Martin, is his speed against Deontay Wilder's speed. And we've seen it too many times in boxing where speed beats power. Now, the old saying is speed beats power, timing beats speed, power beats timing. However, does Charles Martin have the timing to catch Deontay Wilder? I don't know. I really don't know. And like I said at the beginning, it's probably a dumb bet, but this is what I will say about Charles Martin. Charles Martin is durable. Now, you could bring up Anthony Joshua knocked him out, but did he really? Did Anthony Joshua really knock him out? He knocked him on his ass, but did he knock him out? I would say no. I would say that I felt like when that fight happened, just being honest, that the fight was prematurely stopped. I thought it was stopped way too early, because my example to this was, we could go to when Pacquiao first fought Marquez in their first fight. I believe he floored Marquez three times at the start of the fight. But then Marquez adjusted to that power, and in my opinion, went on to win that first fight between him and Pacquiao. However, with Charles Martin, he got knocked on his ass the same way Marquez was getting knocked on his ass. And when the referee waved the fight off before it happened, if my memory serves correctly, this is what I remember. And I'd have to rewatch it to verify, but I'm pretty sure this is what happened. He got knocked down again. You see him smile. He hits his gloves on the canvas like, what the fuck is going on? With a smile on his face, almost like he's laughing at himself for getting knocked down. Then he gets up. When he gets up, the referee waves it off. He by far beat the 8 count to get to his feet. He by far didn't look like he was out on his feet. It looked like he got hit by a bunch of flash knockdowns, because AJ was hitting him quicker than what he's ever been hit by. And that's the thing that might be the issue for him with Deontay Wilder. The speed that Deontay Wilder can throw his hands. But my point is this. He never was really knocked out, and I didn't feel like that fight should have been stopped at that moment. Would it have continued to look like that? Probably, more than likely. Probably AJ would have knocked him out. However, we can point to certain fights throughout the history of boxing to where guys were getting knocked down early, and they finally figured out how to get in and either went on to win or went on to put a good showing and did not get blitzed out. So that's why I felt like it was prematurely stopped. Then we fast forward to Charles Martin's only other loss, which was to Old Nacky. That's right, Old Nacky, because he looks too fucking old to be called a babyface. unless it's a Benjamin Button baby, because he looks like he's 90 years old. His body looks like some melted Play-Doh. Like, the dude does not have the right to call himself babyface. Old Nacky is the reason why some black people say white people aging dog years, because of people like him and the audacity to make us look bad by calling himself a babyface. No, you look old as shit. Now, with that being said, Old Nacky came out there and beat Charles Martin by decision. However, if you watched the fight and if you knew the circumstances leading up to that fight, Charles Martin was inactive for, I believe, over a year. He was recovering from being shot. That's right, he was actually shot. And in that fight, you saw Charles Martin come on, I want to say around like the 7th round, but kind of like Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez, it was a little bit too late. And the reason why I say it was a little bit too late is because it was only a 10-round fight. It wasn't a 12-round fight. Had it been a 12-round fight, I honestly, truly believe he more than likely would have got Old Nacky out of there, but he definitely would have beat him on points, because you saw Old Nacky fading bad. Especially in the 9th and 10th round, he was fading hard. And Charles Martin looked the same. So you could chalk that loss up to ring rust. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you could say what I'm saying is an excuse, but I'm just saying the circumstances that led to that loss. And had it been a 12-round fight, I have no doubts in my mind that Charles Martin would have walked away with the W. But it wasn't, and he lost. After beating him, he has gone on to win 3 fights, 1 by DQ, 1 by TKO, and then the last fight he was in against Gerald Washington, he knocked him out. Now, you know, Gerald Washington's been knocked out before. You know what I mean? Not a big deal, but my point is he's coming off 2 knockout wins. And I'm going to get to the point of why this is relevant. Deontay Wilder is coming off a draw with a gap in between fighting, and then he's going into fighting Tyson Fury again to lose by corner stoppage. And people will argue that they didn't feel like it should have been stopped. I felt like it was a good stoppage if it came from the corner, which it did. If the referee, as I was saying, sorry, I got a phone call, had stopped it, I felt like it was a bad call, because Deontay Wilder was actually in the midst of throwing a punch. You only stop a fight when a guy quits fighting or he's not defending himself. And although Deontay Wilder's defense was lacking, he was still fighting back, because, like I said, when the fight would start, he was in the midst of throwing a hook. I can't remember if it was a left or right hook, but he was in the midst of throwing a punch. And that's when it stopped, when he was in the middle of his punch. So he still had fight left. In my opinion, it was only a matter of time before he actually got put to sleep. But the reason why I feel like it would have been a bad stoppage by the referee is because, like I said, if a guy cannot defend himself and he's not fighting back, well, he fills that criteria of fighting back because he was throwing a punch. Therefore, the referee should not have stopped him to stop it, in my opinion. However, with that being said, let me throw on my seatbelt, guys. We got like a roadblock. With that being said, the corner stoppage I agree with, because nobody knows their fighters better than the guys that are in their corner. They know what they can take, they know how much they have left, and they know how much they can dish out. So by that, I would never disagree with a corner stoppage. So that's why I say it's fine if the corner did it. But in that circumstance, at that time, I don't agree with it if a referee would have done it. Now, moving past that. So Deontay Wilder's coming off a draw and a loss by knockout. What we know about Deontay Wilder is we've never really seen him in there with a puncher. People could say Luis Ortiz is a puncher. I would say Luis Ortiz hasn't really been in there with anybody. He's only been in there with Brian Jennings. That's it. So I don't see Luis Ortiz as this big boogeyman. What I'm hoping is Dillian White, if he beats Povetkin, he'll fight Luis Ortiz next, because I know he was talking about it, and because he won't be able to fight for the WBC belt. And that right there put the nail in the coffin of how good Luis Ortiz really is. Because if he goes out there and knocks out Dillian White, like Povetkin did, but doesn't get dominated before that knockout, then there's an argument to be made that maybe he really was that boogeyman that Wilder made him out to be. I have my doubts. I have a lot of questions. I don't think he is, especially now at his age. But that's irrelevant to the fact that, you know, he's never really been in there with a puncher, especially if you take away Luis Ortiz. Charles Martin, what we do know about him is he is a puncher. He can hit hard. He's not like Tyson Fury, who, outside of Deontay Wilder, to my memory, has never knocked anybody down from a body shot. Never. And he did that to Deontay Wilder. So my thing is, can Deontay Wilder actually take a shot? We know he has a lot of heart. And the heart's not what I'm questioning. The heart, you could be like David Price and have a heart but no chin and still get knocked out. So my point is, we won't know how good Deontay Wilder's chin is until he actually gets in there with a power puncher. And that is exactly what Charles Martin is. Charles Martin, as slow as he is, when he connects, he has a good bit of power. You have to give him credit for that. He does have power. And that is what I'm going on, is the power of Charles Martin being too much for Deontay Wilder. Like I said, I know everybody's going to be against that. And I know that I more than likely just gave my money away for free. But again, I look at the whole aspect of the fight, right? I know Deontay Wilder has a 99.9% chance to win at the opening bell when he has that distance. I know Charles Martin can be hit. I know he doesn't have the best defense, and it's going to be very dangerous for him until he closes the gap. Now, what I do know about Charles Martin is he can close the gaps, and when he closes the gaps on fighters, he finds a way, as slow as he looks, to stay in mid-range with him, with the guys at all times. So even though he doesn't look like he has the fastest feet, he's very good at staying on top of these guys. And I haven't really seen a guy break free of him. I haven't seen a guy be able to box around him like, say, AJ did against Ruiz in the second fight. I have not seen that. So if Charles Martin can survive the opening bell of that gap at the start, I believe once he gets on top of Deontay Wilder's not going to be able to get free from him, meaning he's not going to be able to create space. Now, if Deontay Wilder cannot create space, what we do know is Deontay Wilder's power comes from his last name, Wild. He gets all his power from his wild punches. He puts 100% of his body and speed in the shots that normal guys wouldn't do in boxing, because you're very vulnerable to get countershot, to have a counterpunch landed on you. And Deontay Wilder throws all caution to the wind with that. So the problem is when you have somebody who's up on you, body to body, or at least in mid-range, it gets very difficult to land them winging shots like that, because you don't have time to torque your whole body back and explode. You don't have time to rotate your hips by cocking them back and coming back around, because the guys are throwing punches at you while you're trying to do all of that. So again, I'm not going to say that Charles Martin can close the gap. What I'm going to say is I believe Charles Martin is better at the mid-range than Deontay Wilder, technically, and I sure as hell think he's better up close. And that's where Deontay Wilder falters. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm getting another phone call, then we'll pick it back up. As I was saying, that's where he falters. That's where defensively he falls apart the most, is when you can get up close to him. And I believe 1% of me, enough to put $50 on the line, believes that Charles Martin's chin will hold up to get close. And when he gets close, I think from then on, he beats Deontay Wilder. Even though he's not great, I think he's better at the mid-range and the close range than Deontay Wilder. Even though Deontay Wilder is much faster than Charles Martin, I believe Charles Martin can cut off the ring good enough to not let Deontay Wilder get free. I don't think Deontay Wilder is very good at backing up. He had a decent jab, but he doesn't jab a lot. And when he does jab, you don't see that same type of power in his jab as you do with his hook, his straight. So I don't really see Deontay Wilder, if Charles Martin can close that gap, being able to defensively be good enough to put on an offense that's going to back Charles Martin up, especially when I've never seen him knocked out and I've never really seen him hurt. I've seen him knocked down, like I said earlier against AJ, but even in the last knockdown when he got counted out, I didn't see him hurt. Saw a guy put a big smile on his face and slam his gloves against the canvas like he was pissed off at himself, and then he got up and beat the 8 count. So, again, will Deontay Wilder be able to one-shot Charles Martin? Maybe. It's possible. Deontay Wilder's got a freakish type of power. So I'm not going to put it past him to be able to do it. But at the same time, I have to ask myself, based off the evidence, have I seen Charles Martin's chin crack? And I would say no. So that tells me that even if Deontay Wilder lands one of them shots that people say will take your head off, I have to say that I don't think that single shot is going to knock him out. Will it knock him down? Probably, more than likely, but will Charles Martin get back up? And I believe he will. And that's the thing. How much can Charles Martin take before he figures out to get on the inside? Can he take it? Can he do it? I personally believe, 1% of me, that he can. I'm going to give a little back history, then I'm going to end this long video because I've already got 2 phone calls. It's probably going to be a 30-minute video by now. But I remember way back, me and this British guy that was on my YouTube channel when I first started talking about boxing. And if you're out there, you're still listening, comment, because I haven't seen you write anything in a very long time. We were going back and forth about prospects way before AJ was a household name, way before Charles Martin, anybody knew who he was. And we were going back and forth about who we thought the best prospects were. And I told him, in America, I think Charles Martin is going to be a world champion. And he had no idea who that was. He told me about Anthony Joshua before I had no idea who AJ was. So I've been watching AJ for a very long time, way before he fought Dillian White. Very long time I've known who he was because we had, a bet going on who would be the better prospect. I picked Charles Martin. He picked Anthony Joshua. Lo and behold, Charles Martin wins the belt. Lo and behold, Anthony Joshua challenges him. Now both are prospects. My prediction came true that he would win a title. And his prediction came true, saying that AJ would beat him if they were to meet. They met, AJ won. So my point is this. This isn't like I'm just getting on a Charles Martin hype train or trying to build up his name. I've been watching Charles Martin for a very, 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 very long time. So I really think that he has a 1% chance shot at winning. And I'm so confident with my 1% shot that I took the bet with, again, Mark from Unrivaled Boxing Talking News, because I just believe that when Charles Martin closes the gap, which I think he will, I don't know how Deontay Wilder is going to handle that, a true power puncher hitting him and hitting him repeatedly. And that's where I think Charles Martin will come out with the win. So if you made it to the very end, hit up the comment section. Let me know. I know this was long, and I know I'm asking for a lot for you to make it to the end. But I'll try to listen back to this and see why I really start talking about why Charles Martin will win in this fight. Let me know what y'all think. And I'm about to walk in here and do some work. Thank y'all again for watching.